Hello, my name is Kate. I am the exhibition curator here at the Albury Library Museum, and welcome to Bungambrawatha, Stories of Albury. It is our newly redeveloped collection galleries, and certainly lots to see. Not everyone knows, but Albury was actually put forward as Australia's capital. We can see on these maps here that we have the suggested federal capital site, and we also to the left have a group of photos of the so-called Federal City Football Club. In the end, as we know, Canberra was selected as the site. It was believed that Albury was too close to Melbourne and therefore would be unduly influenced by the Victorian capital. I'm going to hand to my colleague Kat to talk about the naming of the exhibition.
I'm Kat, First Nations curator. So we went with Bungambrawatha because it's known as the original name for Albury from the Wiradjuri people. The name also means homeland. We're very lucky to have such a diverse First Nations community here, with people from all over Australia that bring so much of their community's culture to the area. What we've got here is some soil samples that is connected to the resettlement scheme. So the Aboriginal resettlement scheme started in 1972, and a bunch load of different Aboriginal families were relocated to areas that had the potential to have high economic, better jobs, better education areas, and Albury was one of those areas that was selected. During the making of the Library Museum here in Albury, different Aboriginal community members went and collected different soil samples from their homeland. And some of these samples were actually placed inside the foundations of the Albury LibraryMuseum during a blessing ceremony. And it's really just to showcase the diversity that we have here.
This object here, the City of Albury seal, is a great starting point to talk about industry in the region that supported the growth of the city. So here, right in the centre, you can see that we have the paddle steamer speaking to the trade that ran up and down the Murray. We have our bushel of wheat here and crops here, talking of course about our very fertile soil and agriculture. We also have the pick and shovel, speaking about the gold mining in the area. While not much gold was found in Albury, just a small amount in what is now Lavington, we became a service centre for the surrounding goldfields, especially of northeast Victoria. And we also have vines, and what may not be known is that winemaking was a huge industry in Albury before sadly it was wiped out by pests.
So what we've got here is our possum cloaks. Now we have 3 adult possum cloaks in the collection, as well as 1 baby possum cloak. So this one here was actually made by Trina Ham, a Yorta Yorta woman. It depicts travelling from her country down in Yorta Yorta country all the way up to Bungambrawatha for the Bogon Moss ceremony. You can actually see that there are Bogon Moss all around the outside of it, with different objects that were traded during the Bogon Moss festival. We have a second possum cloak. This one was made by various people in the Albury community. So each person got given a possum skin and they got to put their own design on it. So there's a lot of really nice detailed designs in here.
20th of October in 1934, a very significant event happened in Albury, and that was the emergency landing of the Iver plane. The KLM flight was participating in the London to Melbourne air race when it hit an electrical storm. Some locals saw that the plane was in trouble and actually used the lighting grid to spell out Albury in Morse code to tell them it was safe to land. Then a call went out on the radio to invite locals to drive their cars to the racecourse so they could shine their lights and create a runway. The next morning, the plane was stuck, and so locals again came to the rescue and helped pull the plane from the wreckage. As part of this, to make the plane lighter, they threw out as much as they can, and here we have a selection of items that were rescued as souvenirs of this very big event. Albury Wodonga differ in the fact that they are border towns, and one of the stories that we've been able to talk about is quarantine. And of course this has been relevant for a long time, and often I hear that people feel museums may not be relevant, but of course we've all been through quarantine in the last 5 years, and so we were able to actually explore the connections and ways that they have managed the management of pests and disease for over 100 years.
So here we have our war case, which includes different perspectives on the Albury history. But in this war case, we also include the Frontier Wars, which most people know as the war between the first settlers and First Nations people. It is one of the darker parts of history, but it is a part of Australian history that we do often need to talk about. And so this section is all about the different weapons that would have been used during the Frontier Wars. These are more modern interpretations of them. And the panels itself within the museum, all the ones that pertain to First Nations history, actually has a Wiradjuri word right at the top that is often linked to what the panel's talking about. So this one actually means to defend, to shield.
So when new arrivals arrived at the Bungambrawatha Reception Centre, often it was at night, and when they awoke, it was quite a shock to find themselves in such a sparse and remote environment. The building was actually a repurposed military base, and on display we have a soldier's paybook from staff that was stationed there. But when they arrived, they were given some rudimentary tools to welcome them, including an army blanket as well as cutlery. Albury Wodonga's history of welcoming refugees isn't isolated to the Bungambrawatha Migrant Reception Scheme. Here we look at these beautiful handwritten cards from school students, and these were actually given to Kosovo refugees in the 1990s. They were granted safe haven visas and they were welcomed to the community. The community felt so strongly about these refugees that there is actually a Kosovo park in Wodonga. Albury is home to Australia's National Circus School, and on display here we actually have a costume of the flying fruit flies, which are named as such because they're located where the fruit fly block used to be. And this incredible costume is from the performance of Skipping on the Stars. So as throughout other parts of Australia, we had a significant number of Chinese migrants who came across for the gold rush. Whilst only a small amount of gold was found in the Albury area, it became a service centre for the surrounding goldfields. As part of this, the Chinese migrants established shops and market gardens, and they had a camp which included this joss house. These doors and panels were eventually rescued. The doors had actually been used as shelves in someone's shed, which is pretty horrifying when you know that a joss house is a place for the community to meet and also for ancestral and spiritual worship. Albury is the birthplace of some very well-known sports people. We have champions of tennis, we have AFL footballers, and of course we have Lauren Jackson, who our indoor sports centre has been named after. Lauren Jackson is very well known, very fortunate to have a collection of her medals, including incredible achievements, including the Beijing Olympics, the Sydney Olympics, we have Commonwealth Games. So we're very proud of her.
We really hope that we can all see you down here at some point over the next couple of months, and please do come through and enjoy your time here learning about Albury history.